All right, Vig. We love the NFL. And if you follow Fitz and Vig, you know that there's a lot of Yankees talk, but there's a lot of football talk too. And we want to make sure our opinions on the league are shared with you guys. So, as of recording in this post, we're 3 games into the 2011 season, and there's a couple shocks that I wanted to touch on. I want to touch on 3 topics here. Being that we talk a lot about New York, we got to talk about the New York teams. We already talked about the Giants, so keep an eye open for that other post. It's up here. Find the Giants beating the Eagles. But the Jets lost to Oakland this week on the road, a team they should not lose to when they're trying to march to the Super Bowl. And then 2 other guys, which are big surprises, and Fitz is very high on both of them. The Detroit Lions and Buffalo Bills are both 3-0 at this point. Losers of the past 10 years, Lions and Bills, are 3-0, and heck, marching to the playoffs. Give me some feedback on what you've seen so far this season.
Yeah, 75% of teams that start 3-0 make the playoffs.
Something like that, yeah.
That's the number that I've heard. Okay, so a couple things. Oakland is up and coming. They finished last year 8-8. They protected their home field advantage last year, their home field last year.
Yeah.
The Jets traveled to cross country. It's never good.
Yeah.
Campbell, a quarterback for Oakland, provides you with a league average quarterback rather than a horrendous quarterback, which is what they at least started the season last year with. They have a excellent running game.
Right. Yeah. McFadden is if not now, in the next couple of years, will be an elite level NFL running back.
Absolutely. At home, other team comes cross country, perhaps other team, Jets. I took them a little bit lightly. I wasn't as shocked as probably Superfits was when it comes to the Jets losing to Oakland, if for no other reason that they travel cross country. It's just one of those dynamics where it's like when the Yankees go play Oakland, all of a sudden Oakland takes 2 out of 3.
I'll buy that. I will give you some credibility.
I don't condone it. It's ridiculous to me. It just happens.
It just happens. I think the only difference is when you're talking baseball, between a game against say the Orioles in Yankee Stadium to the next game, which is against the A's in Oakland for the Yankees. I'm talking about here. There's one day in between, so you would expect some jet lag. There's
Agreed, but it happens.
It does happen.
We don't condone it. We think it's ridiculous. If a monster football player was standing right here, we'd say you're a wimp.
Right.
But it just happens.
And you're not as comfortable, and I guess maybe there's some trouble sleeping, and you need your energy. The only thing I'm going to say about the Jets is I think if they're going to make the Super Bowl, which Rex Ryan has been talking about nonstop, this has to be their year. Some of their key players like Tomlinson are getting a little bit older. I don't know if signing up Santonio Holmes to a long-term deal was the best move. Some of the players in the offensive line are getting a little shaky.
Still no pressure on the quarterback?
No pressure on the quarterback. It has to be this year. Sanchez, I'd like to see him develop another couple of years, but I'm worried that some of his associates are going to fall off the tree by then. And he won't have him when he's ready to be leading off to rebuild the team again. So it's got to be this year. Hopefully, this is just a stumbling block, a speed bump, so to speak.
Still 2-1, right?
Still 2-1. Still second place in the division, and that brings me to kind of the next topic: is second place in the division to the Buffalo Bills, who beat the New England Patriots this week. When Patriots went into Buffalo, were 7-point favorites and got defeated on a last-second field goal.
Brady throws as many picks in that game as he had all of last season.
A beautiful thing, yeah. So I love to see Brady get beaten up, get hurt on. I shouldn't say hurt. He didn't really get hurt in the game, but just have a poor performance, and you suckers up in Boston watching your Patriots lose. Can't beat that.
Even more fired up about the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions have a defense.
Yes, they do.
Detroit Lions are playing some solid defense. They've got a true quarterback now.
Yep.
Stafford's
legit.
Leading the way. They've got a beast wide receiver.
Yes.
And from my perspective, if on a sandlot game, Detroit and Bills play, Detroit's stomping them because that defense is just bloody.
Probably right. I think what will be interesting is nothing beats. If you think back to the 90s, nothing beats a home Buffalo Bills playoff game where it's negative 50 and it snows. It's going to be snowing there in Buffalo.
But Ken Fitzpatrick played in that game.
I hope so. He's one of those guys, and I heard Peter King talking about him, and I don't like to take credit for other people's work. Peter King said this, C+ arm as far as power-wise, and that's what people always look at. They say, Brett Favre's arm, he can throw the ball 75 yards. Mike Vick, same thing. Doesn't mean they're accurate. He's a C+ arm, but he's an A on accuracy. And guys like Chad Pennington, and he's probably not the best example, but Boomer Esiason, for instance,
Okay.
with C-plus arms and A accuracy, have brought teams to Super Bowls.
I'm just thinking that you mentioned the weather, which is a great point. Such a good home field, big home field advantage in Buffalo. But is Fitzpatrick a cold weather quarterback?
Well, that we don't know. That we don't. Well, he did go to school at Harvard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, what does that tell me? Nothing. tells me how do you get into the NFL? But no, I'd love to see those two teams play in the Super Bowl. I mean, that would be a beautiful thing.
That would be beautiful.
Is it going to happen? Probably not. We're not getting that far.
It'll be Giants Patriots.
It'll be Giants Patriots. But I mean, as we stand here after week 3, I'm high on those two teams. They're 3-0. If they both even just kind of sniff the playoffs, even as wild cards, I think it would be a victory for the franchises and for the league.
Yeah, I think it would be a big thing for the league as well. Good way to end on the league.
There's some weird stat with the NFL where